So ready to go. Thank you, Alan, for the invitation. Very nice. Very glad to be here. This is a follow-up. That's something that started almost a year ago with Ericsson having presence in TADS with my colleague, Franz Rock, who actually presented case studies that Ericsson is doing at Identity. We took this, obviously, to the next layer. And we are commercially active nowadays together with the GSMA into the Mobile Connect program. And also actually taking Identity to even further layers, IoT, for example. So that's going to talk about that. So bear with me for a few minutes. I know that some people challenged earlier today connectivity a bit, and but this is indeed in everything we do today. No question about it, right? Everything we do in all parts of society, education, work, leisure, I mean, all kinds of verticals, industries, whatever, everything is done or will be done in a network. You know, believe it or not, this is the harsh reality. And this is essentially what's happening. I mean, we live and we will live in a connected world, no matter what. And this is just the beginning. I mean, you and I, everybody here, is part of what Ericsson has been calling the network society. And even though some people challenge also today the 50 billion devices or everything that will be that can be connected will be connected, of course, this is going to happen also in the future through all these networks. And the most important to us, however, has been that in this society, I mean, everything has to be done with trust, with simplicity, and also with security and identity in mind. So I took a couple of notes, actually, from several works that we have done in digital services. And we have always concluded, based upon our consumer lab research, that all these digital services actually should always be available. There should not be restriction to any of those. Also, another thing that to us is quite important, access to personal information should be authorized by whoever has that information, owns that information. That is not happening. The right to privacy, among others, for example, should be protected, and that is not happening. So essentially, we took some of those principles and we worked on some solutions to see where we landed. This, therefore, the nature of the disruptive work that we're doing. Because currently, pretty much everything is considered a given. And in essence, the over-the-top world, for example, is taking over on identity matters, you know, and it's actually kind of like marketing your information and using all kinds of things with your personal information, as you all know. So at Ericsson, we believe somehow that every device, every mobile phone like yours or mine in this case, should be a digital identity. And that's something that a lot of people, even some in this room, trust as well and believe. So this should be your trusted digital identity. This stays with you all the time. This could be used as a piece of authentication. This could be used as a piece of attribute support and consent management. This could be also used as some piece of authorization and consent management. So this is your key piece for the future. It is also a key piece of the future because it grants you access very simply to all the kind of services that we saw cool in a very cool fashion being displayed today. So that's amazing. And the other thing, and I think probably the most important, is this is a digital wallet. Here you can do everything literally today. You can try, I mean, you see a lot of use cases as we move along. So a basket of opportunities, we said. And in this basket of opportunities, this is everybody's game today because, I mean, with new devices coming, with new things getting connected by the minute, with new services launched every other second, I mean, decisions made in real time and so on and so forth, new cloud services and so on and so forth. I mean, there are literally billions of opportunities to everybody in this room, operators, service providers, developers, and whatnot. However, this is not going to come easy, and there are challenges, and there are constant challenges to everything that we do. And for us, I mean, that comes in the way of at least three major areas where we have seen it. organized crime, for that matter, for sure, industrial espionage. We have seen this. I mean, I don't know if everybody's familiar with the last, for example, the Ericsson story in China, for example. Defacers, hacking all over the place, even though, of course, this is a nice hacking event. So great stuff, but also very dangerous for our own privacy. Now, how can we overcome all these challenges? I mean, this is quite important to us, and this is where we are acting. As I said, this is my digital identity. What I'm showing you is a smart app that we created following the principles of mobile digital identity at Ericsson and in cooperation with GSMA Mobile Connect program. I'll get to that a little bit more in detail, but this is my digital identity. I use this for almost everything today. I'll get to the breakdown of that later. Mobile digital identity, or also known as MDI for short, is a solution that helps you convert your mobile devices into digital identities. That's simple. We use credentials existing in the mobile network operators as differentiators to protect your identity. This can be achieved easily. It can be achieved, anywhere, anytime, from any device. That's the kind of like the principle. And also help operators, like some of the operators that are here. We have had talks on these areas, but we are talking to many operators globally. About how we can convert them into identity providers and challenge the actually established identity providers, which today are basically the social media login proponents, like, for example, Google, Twitter, and Facebook, who in a combined market, for example, address about 1.2, 1.3 billion identities today, the largest by far. Nowadays, mobile operators in this ecosystem can address close to 7 billion identities for a larger scope for you developers and community to develop further. So this is a kind of like a global picture of the authentication and identity solution. As you can see, on the far on the far left, there is the application that sits on the smart app that sits on my mobile phone based on SIM credentials. I can access from there multiple areas: leisure, work, e-health. I can log in into a federation of operators belonging into this area of identity management. And then from there, I can access any service globally, whether it's a communication services, media services, digital services of any kind. And this can extend actually to a global and trusted ecosystem, which is even better. We work with the One API, or the former One API Exchange, and are now converted into API Exchange. We provide our own APIs, SDKs, and whatnot. So these are available for you as a community to help us build further on this. As I said before, tons of use cases. Not going to talk about use cases, but towards the end, I'll show you quite a few interesting cases, disruptive cases. But from access to online services, to enterprise security, all the way to banking, financials, access to e-government services, all services managed with different types of authentication technologies, from SMSC plus URL, to MSSP, to smart apps, to SIEM applets, to biometrics, all the way to GBA technology. You are using MDI as a kind of umbrella platform to address all kinds of cases. What is the opportunity, actually, for everybody in this room? First, of course, to us, it's important to have someone that leverages the ecosystem, and that's you. I'm here more on a recruiting mission than anything. We have already spent quite a couple of years developing this, but we need, obviously, the ecosystem, and I'd like to recruit you as, a key part into this chaotic kind of mind world of personal information, which is not necessarily good, guys. This is really bad. But then I'd like you also to be quite participants, quite active, proactive participant in developing for a market that is extremely worthy. This is a market that markets identity and access management forecast for 2018, $10.4 billion. Depending upon analysts, this will be probably even bigger. What is the mission? Very simple. Design and deploy disruptive and advanced mobile authentication and digital identity solutions for this network society that comes in the near future or is already there. This is a picture that shows a little bit of the uneven distribution or how the monetization works in this area. On the far left, you have basically the people that make money, the banks, the financial institutions, the over-the-top providers, new banks and things like that can monetize actually what we call the levels of assurance 3 and 4, where you are basically charging per transactions because of obviously the liabilities. Extremely great amount of money in that area. E-government services, financials, payment systems, you name it. And the other one is more horizontal, towards the center. You see there all the social logging, where we believe that perhaps should be handled as a freemium type of model, so be equal. So business with simplicity. Let me show you the application and how the application stuff looks like very quickly. This is the mobile phone. You can see an icon there on the center, the application for Mobile Connect in the corner. Simple use. Okay, once you click that button, you get to the smart app for sure. And then you can manage your profile. You can click buttons to basically launch an authentication to the service provider of your choice. Get authenticated right away in a matter of seconds. You can get actually branding space actually for your service provider capacity or for if you are an MNO. You have also feature applications in the bottom where you can move around the applications that are more successful and the ones that are actually more relevant at the moment. And then you can have also connected applications. So it's actually an entire ecosystem, very dynamic, that you can brand and even sell, applications, marketing type of advertising, you name it. Many ways to monetize on a simple smart app. We are after people like you that can create even beyond those things. And I'm going to give you an example. These are 3 applications, quick mock-ups on the Mobile Connect and Ericsson MDI application platform. One is for an airline, Flico Airline. Another one is for a small retail store. And another one is for a social media site. And the only thing that is common there is actually the Mobile Connect button that you see in the center, exaggerated a bit, just so you can see. But literally, the moment that you press that button, you have basically the trust that this is going to be done in a way that you control the actual trust, the security is in your hands. Personal information matters, and it's in your hands now, not in somebody else's hands. So what are all these disrupting solutions, and what we have done at Ericsson with all this technology? Basically, we are creating multiple solutions, and I'm going to show you a couple of them. We use this technology for IMS and VoLTE identification. We use this for secure voice. We use this for voice over Wi-Fi. In the center, dead center, you see something interesting called precision agriculture. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along, so you can see a little bit of the cool things that are happening. Web identity, mobile identity, trusted proxies for e-government type of applications, smart buildings, e-government security, all kinds of application. Very, very rich ecosystem. This is some of the solutions, for example, that we have leveraged. I was interested also to see a little bit of the obviously interesting thoughts about IoT and how things don't seem to make sense if everything got connected. But I'm going to give you an example so people can see actually the value. These are 3 applications that we have launched already in the industry. One in the center, again, is the agriculture application. This is a project that we launched in Germany, and we're working together with Intel, with SAP, and a small startup in Germany called MyOmega Technologies, and Ericsson. Nice formation, very diverse, very interesting. It's a precision agriculture project. I'm going to walk you through that. But the goal of that project was actually produce the best possible wine. And that actually is a tricky thing. Because people believe that wine has been around for billions of years, literally, right? Sorry, not billions. For many years. But interestingly enough, grapes and everything in the process is actually a complex thing, right? So let me walk you through that. Plants to produce wine can literally be identified. And in fact, this is one of the most complex things about producing the right grape for wine. Plants can be actually even singled out. So we managed to work with this company, as I said, and develop the gateway that you see like a little spider hanging in there. And we put in there identity technology, and we put also security technology. And the goal was to actually capture the data that was surrounding each plant in a very unique fashion, so to guarantee not only the identity, but also the data integrity all the way from the plant to enterprise servers sitting, as you can see in the screen. So the people can go and see literally, as you can see, trending and monitoring and everything in their apps or in their devices, the evolution of the wine. So this is not a short cycle, actually. So the harvesting process is long. But then we have in the back end, we have technology from SAP HANA, real-time databases and analytics, so we can measure not only temperature, water levels, soil conditions, everything that is measurable around the plant and its own identity, and see what plants are producing the best grapes and the end process of the actual process of the harvesting. Next, of course, we move inside the actual cellars. And as you can see, we can not only monitor the grapes and the grape production, but we can also measure the quality inside the cellars and how the process is actually, let's say, is taking place from all the way to the cellar to actual storage in barrels, what kind of barrels, and so on and so forth. Literally, a complete ecosystem that people believed that was under control. But now the first early measures have indicated that perhaps over 40% of the harvest is improved. And this absolutely astonishes for a multi-billion-dollar industry when you get vineyards that are producing 20 to 40% better grape and better wine quality in a multi-billion-dollar business. And that's just by using identity, security, authentication, measures like that in a whole ecosystem. We apply this also to smart buildings nowadays. We at Ericsson are in the process of adopting or eliminating our cards to access the buildings. So the big building recognize your mobile or your devices and basically act upon and authorizes you to enter the buildings. And also not only that, but also even sort of like tap into your devices to try to block you from accessing different areas that you're not supposed to enter, for example. So all of this is possible. You guys know about all this. So I'm in a recruiting mode, I said. I'm really, really interested in exploring this ecosystem with more people, capable people, competent people, brilliant people like you guys are. And not only as customers, there are great developers here. I've seen great examples of good technology today. I've seen also operators. With some of them, we're talking about some of the solutions that we do. I've seen also service providers. I see also vendors. I invite you all to really work together on this. This is an amazing and something that, we all can do together. Privacy, security, trust, simplicity, all combined into this very simple and beautiful device. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Pedro. Do we have any questions for Pedro? Okay, just hang on a sec.
Hello. I'd like to know a little bit more about the mobile digital identity. Yeah. Do you handle that centrally? And what is the difference related to what exists today with other services like the social media plugins? Because one of the issues is privacy of the users and the harvesting of all user activity in different platforms. And that's, at least in my opinion and a lot of people, one of the challenge. It's not the cost, but it's the cost in terms of paying with your privacy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you. Let me take this. Thank you. I think it's an excellent question, actually. So thank you for that. The identity market, as you know, is quite fragmented, extremely fragmented. There are solutions all over the place, as you sort of realize. I mean, we took the approach of trying to create an environment that is wide open. This is a cloud-based service. We don't store any data like others that do identity management, for example, Social Login does. Take the data, store the data, mine the data, analyze the data, own the data. We don't do that. We basically are deployed in the cloud, in Ericsson Clouds systems, and essentially from there, we basically work with the community, the operators, and use the data that operators have in their ecosystems. Like, for example, let's say here, I don't know, the local operator has their own HLRs, HSS, and they have their own data that they basically have a relation of trust with the operator. And so it does in Canada, where I'm coming from, in Sweden, and whoever, right? So the data is stored in the operator premises. We basically act as data processor, not as we call data controllers. So we don't own or mine or use any data. That's our manifesto. Now, we understand that operators have assets, and those assets, as for example, the HLRs, the HSS, the CUDVs, and the data, let's say, where all this information resides. And so it does the banks, for example. We are working closely now to move into the next stage of attributes handling and identification for bank and government. They also own their repositories, their LDAPs, and so on and so forth. So from that perspective, we just basically ask data processors and basically route all the information to the right authenticators that the service provider choose, or choose, sorry. Let's say a bank. The bank has credentials, has bank IDs, or government do the same, and they need some sort of authentication. We have in the platform that is sitting in our clouds, our servers and application servers and whatnot, all the routing technology to basically route to the different authenticators, whether it's an SMSC plus URL, a one-time password, or a biometric, or some sort of authentication, advanced or not, that the operator chooses or the service provider chooses. So we never touch or store any data. Did I answer that question? So it's a large federation of operators, and everybody is in charge of the data. We don't deal with any data at Ericsson. So.
So for the sake of time, thank you, Pedro. That was a great follow-on from last year's presentation. Thank you so much.
Okay.